Thank you for having me. Let's just go ahead and get started here. Let's talk hijackers. Let's see here. All right, guys, so I'll just start with a quick introduction of who I am. I'm probably one of the only gurus, I guess, that you probably haven't heard of. As Will said, my name is Steve Eilers. I live in GR, Grand Rapids, Michigan. There's a picture of me and my youngest child. I have 3 children. I've been kind of doing the online hustle for a long time, ever since I was about 12 or 13 years old. I've been selling online for at least 20 years and have been on Amazon for about 5 years so far. I run and operate several multi-million-dollar businesses dealing with Amazon specifically. Last year we did a little over 11 million in gross sales. We've been blessed and fortunate to be an Inc. 500 company on that list for 2 years in a row now for the fastest growing private companies in America. So that's been really, really great. But you know, enough talking about me. I guess the last thing I'll say is I deal with the same, you know, BS that all of you guys do with Amazon when it comes to, you know, hijackers and people, you know, doing things to your listings, jumping on your listings, all of that fun stuff. I feel your pain. I'll be the first to say it. You know, I started out very small. I'm larger now, and I'm sure, you know, some of you guys are even larger than I am, but I feel like it doesn't matter, no matter what your size is on Amazon, you know, we all are going to deal with these types of nuances. So purpose of this webinar, we're going to talk about some of the current strategies that these scammers are using today, because I have seen it has evolved over time. We're going to talk about some alternate methods to the cease and desist letter. That's something that I know a lot of you guys are probably using right now, is the C&D letter. We're going to talk about some alternatives. Also, as Will had said, we're going to introduce you to a brand new tool that will help your keep your Amazon listing safe and save you a lot of money. Probably will increase your sales, in fact, and at least let you sleep better at night, which is probably worth more than money to all of you guys, as it is to me. So let's get in here. I guess starting out, you know, as you know, Amazon is filled with fraud. It's here. It's not going away. It's getting worse, literally month over month. These scammers, these hijackers, they're getting smarter. They're doing, you know, different types of things to get on your listings. There's different bots and things coming up all the time. Amazon, of course, knows about the problem. Unfortunately, they do little about it. You know, personally, I think if they could just turn off, you know, memberships for Chinese sellers, that would do a lot. I mean, obviously there is legitimate and genuine, you know, sellers that are in Asia and whatnot, but the amount of fraud that's coming, you know, internationally has really, really ramped up these past couple of years on Amazon. And unfortunately, the competitors are, you know, definitely joining in on the nonsense as well. It's not just counterfeiters. It's people that, you know, you're directly competing with, and they're getting smarter. And unfortunately, it's just, you know, the nature of doing business, I guess, on Amazon is dealing with these things. So getting into the types of listing scammers, the first one that we're going to talk about, which is the most crucial, you know, person who's on your Amazon listing, is what I call a hijacker. These are people who are actually on your listing who have undercut your price to the extent where they have stolen the buy box from you. You know, typically this is a Chinese counterfeiter from what I've seen, or a Chinese bot, and we'll talk a little bit more about the bots here in a minute. Sometimes it's actually an American competitor or a scammer. Even sometimes it could be somebody who's got your product for free, you know, on an elite deal or a product giveaway that has somehow figured out a way to get, you know, a lot of your inventory, and they are reselling it on your listing. So unfortunately, dealing with those types of people, if they're selling, you know, an actual genuine product, there's not much you can do. But you know, 99% of the time that is not the case, and there definitely is things you can do, which we'll get to. The next type of scammer, I call them a leech. I know other people have different terms for them. But these are people who are on your Amazon listing that don't have the buy box. You still have the buy box, so it's not as crucial, but they're still on your listing. And from what I've seen, people sometimes don't always buy the product from the seller who has the buy box. We see that all the time, where they will go to another seller who might be closer to them in location, or if the person does not have Amazon Prime, they're going to go for a seller that's not doing an FBA listing. So those people it's still important to get those people off if in fact they are scamming you or selling a counterfeit good, or perhaps not even shipping the customer anything at all. And typically for leeches, those types of people are the Chinese bots that I was kind of talking about earlier, and typically they are jumping on your listing, but also thousands of other listings. You'll see these new sellers that have no history, no feedback. They are the date that they signed up, it says just launched. I'm sure you guys have seen that. They're brand new accounts, brand new selling accounts. Says a lot of times it'll even say they're from China, but these people will list on your products. I have these people literally on a daily basis jumping on my products, but not only mine, but thousands of other people's products too. And they do that to I guess try to get they're not stealing the buy box sometimes, so they're just trying to get a little bit from each listing versus maybe taking over 5 top listings. They can target 10,000 smaller ones, and if they can get just a little piece of the pie from every listing, that's how they can get it done. So let's talk about the cease and desist letter. I'm assuming you guys are familiar with the cease and desist. A lot of people talk about it, they promote it, and pitch the idea of the C&D. I agree 100%. It's effective, but sometimes it's literally just not enough. I do want to say that the cease and desist is effective a lot of the time. Just sometimes you need a little bit more. However, the C&D should still be really used as that first method of attack. I would always still try the C&D, and if it doesn't work, then we go into some of these other advanced strategies that I will talk about. So what happens if the C&D doesn't work? So we're going to talk about 3 strategies here. Just so you know, brand registry is not required for any of these strategies. There is other ways of getting people off your listings. If you have brand registry, it can sometimes be a little bit easier. However, we're not going to go there on this one. Brand registry, as you guys probably know, was completely revamped by Amazon, I think about 8 weeks ago or so, to the extent you can't even be a brand registered seller unless you have a registered trademark. So I'm assuming you're not brand registered. If you are brand registered, it's just going to help your case all the more and be a little bit easier, and we can maybe talk about some of those strategies on the Q&A if people have questions there. But for all intents and purposes, we're going to assume that you're not brand registered unless you were, grandfathered in before they revamped the system. So strategy number 1 is what I like to call the threatening letter. This is actually my favorite method to use, and sometimes I will skip the C&D and just go ahead and use this letter because it's been really, really effective. And I know you guys have probably tried this before, where you kind of send the person on your listing a nastygram. However, I think there is a special way that you really need to word that nastygram that you send them. So this typically, I will send after a cease and desist if the person ignores it completely, which happens sometimes, maybe 10% of the time. I would say then the cease and desist is effective maybe 90% of the time, at least for our business. But basically what we do is we send a email from the Amazon buying account, but we use a different account than the one that we use to send the cease and desist. So when you send the cease and desist out, some people will send it from the Amazon selling account, or they'll use an Amazon buying account that might be different or unrelated to the account that's associated with the selling account. It doesn't matter what one you do for the cease and desist, in my opinion. However, for the threatening letter, I would advise you to use an account that's not associated with the actual selling account. I do think that's important. And I think you get more punch if you use a buyer account that is different than the one from the cease and desist, because they will see a different name, different email, there's power in numbers. Let's just say that. And if they're getting kind of hit by two different people, that can kind of play into, you know, your goal, which is to get them off the listing. So this is really effective for counterfeiters. I've felt 99% of the time, for me at least. And for the bots, maybe 50% of the time. A lot of time these bots that are jumping on listings, I mean, it's an algorithm, it's a computer program that are scouring, you know, Amazon for any product that has a bestseller badge or that has a really good sales rank. It'll just jump on. But oftentimes these bots are not even checking messages. You know, they're deleting them. They're not even seeing your message. So it's not as effective on bots, but we'll get to another strategy there. But this is pretty effective for counterfeiters. So here's the message that I like to use. Again, you can tweak this to your liking, but I start out, you know, to whom it may concern, consider this your first and last warning to remove ASIN, blah blah blah. And then I kind of throw in a little threat. You know, your Amazon account will be suspended if you don't comply. We've successfully gotten. You can put any number in here, you know, 5, 6, 7, 12 other sellers like yourself shut down permanently within the past month for doing the same thing that they're doing. And this question always seems effective. You know, let me ask you this. Is it worth losing your entire Amazon selling account over one product? That seems to be pretty effective. And of course, you know, we tell them do the right thing, please remove the listing and face legal action or permanent loss of your Amazon account. You've been warned. I like to keep this letter a little bit harsh. I think it needs to be. I mean, if someone's ignoring a cease and desist letter, if you guys have ever gotten a cease and desist letter from somebody, I mean, that could be kind of scary. And if somebody is blatantly ignoring one of those letters, I think you need to kind of fight fire with fire a little bit at that point to get them gone. Not to say you're going to attack them or threaten, you know, do anything illegal or anything in violation of Amazon's TOS or anything like that. That's not what we're talking about. But it's certainly okay to let them know, hey, you're gonna take action, get them suspended, because that's exactly kind of what strategy number 2 and 3 are. But doing it, you know, in a way that is Amazon TOS friendly. So strategy number 1, like I said, it is pretty effective. Strategy number 2 is report it to Amazon, and this might just seem like, you know, duh, Steve, why are you telling us to report it? You know, I've done this a million different ways. Well, you know, there's 100 different ways to contact Amazon and to get in touch with the right people at Amazon. I've been selling on there for a really long time. There's different teams and departments that can actually, you know, help you out and do things and actually listen. There's other departments that your message will get shuffled around, you know, and nothing will happen from it. So I'm going to kind of show you the way that I've seen actually works really well. It's the correct department and the correct way to report these people. And this is, you know, I would do strategy number 1 first. Again, strategy number 2, reporting it. I would do, you know, if basically the cease and desist or the threatening letter do not work. You know, if that doesn't do it within 24 hours, then let's go ahead and report it to Amazon. So this is effective for bot sellers, very effective for bot sellers, because again, most of those bots, they're not reading cease and desist messages. They're not even reading their inbox messages. So this is definitely more effective for those types of hijackers and leeches. This is not as effective for the counterfeiters. Oftentimes the counterfeiters get this mentality that, you know, I'm untouchable. You know, the product looks just like the one that's on the listing. I'm not breaking any rules. Or oftentimes, you know, a counterfeiter could be somebody who doesn't even know that they're doing anything wrong. You know, they might have gone onto a wholesale website, ordered something in bulk, and not know that what they're getting is counterfeit. So, but we'll talk about a strategy for counterfeiters on strategy 3, but this is, again, effective for bots, very effective. But the way you report it to Amazon, it's got to be very short and sweet. You know, I used to write books to seller performance or to Amazon. I'd open up cases, I'd email Jeff Bezos, I would do all sorts of stuff, send them, you know, 5 paragraphs, trademark applications, all that stuff. From what I've seen, and sometimes that works, I'm not saying it doesn't, but most of the time it doesn't. They don't want to read a book, they don't want to read an essay. So it's got to be short and sweet, and I'll get to exactly kind of what my process looks like for reporting these guys. Again, this is effective 99% of the time for me for those bot sellers, and I've seen them get removed as quickly as 1 or 2 hours, and you know, up to about 12 hours. It's pretty quick, which is great, because you don't want those people on your listing for forever. It can just cause you lots of issues. So basically, you're going to go to Seller Central, just like you always open up a support case. You're going to go to Help, Contact Us. When you hit the support case, you're going to hit Selling on Amazon, Other Issues. Now, when you hit Other Issues, you have the option of doing Report a Violation or Report Listing Abuse. This is listing abuse. For all intents and purposes, that's exactly what this is. However, I've noticed if you open up this complaint under the section that says Report Listing Abuse, it doesn't go anywhere. I can't explain why, but you need to do Report a Violation. That seems to be way more effective than Report Listing Abuse, and that will go right to seller performance. There's a little checkbox that says mark this is urgent. Go ahead and do that. And then where it says describe your issue, something short and sweet, just a couple of sentences is all you need to do. Please investigate seller, blah, 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 for suspicious listing activity. The seller has changed their seller name on a daily basis as well to avoid suspension. Well, let me talk about that a bit. These bots, these bots that are going and listing on thousands, tens of thousands of ASINs, what we've seen is they are changing their seller account name 3 to 4 times a day. They're doing this so they don't get suspended, because when people report this, you know, listing abuse to Amazon, they will always put in what the seller's name is. Well, if the seller has changed their name 3 times that day, we've seen they're able to kind of get away with it. So this is what they're doing. They're going on 3 to 4 times a day, going to their profile under Seller Central, and they're changing their name for the whole sake of, you know, avoiding being suspended. You would think Amazon would put in the due diligence and go back in time and look and see, okay, this person changed their name, you know, 30 times within the past month. But from what I've seen, they're not doing that. So what you need to do is put in a link to their Amazon storefront, and then tell Amazon too, hey, this person is changing their name on a daily basis. That's the whole reason, you know, I'm providing the storefront link, because that doesn't change ever. So something as simple as that is really effective for those bots that constantly are on your listings. So if that doesn't work, first off, I guess let's talk about strategy 2 a little bit more. So why such a short and sweet email? We did talk about that a little bit. Amazon doesn't want to read an essay. Like I said, it'll likely get ignored. It's very effective on the Chinese bots. And just talking again about the storefront URL, it is very important to include that. So number 3, this is, again, use it if the cease and desist doesn't work, if 1 and 2 don't work. I've only had to do this maybe 2 times in my tenure of selling on Amazon for many years. I would imagine some of you guys probably have been instructed to do this, but this is the test buy with a twist. So basically, this is going to be used on hijackers. I wouldn't waste doing my time on doing the strategy for people who are on your listing but don't have the buy box. That can get really time consuming. It can get expensive depending on the price of your products. I would just focus on, if you're in like DEFCON 1, someone's completely undercutted your price, they stole the buy box, you've sent them a threatening letter, you sent them a cease and desist, you reported them to Amazon, and nothing is working. You're 3 days into this thing, your sales are cut in half. This is what you do in that scenario. It's definitely going to be your last resort. Again, if you have brand registry or a trademark on your product, you don't even necessarily need brand registry, but I would hope you would have brand registry if you have a registered trademark. But if your trademark is, as long as it's not pending, as long as it's actually issued, there's other things you can do too, and perhaps we'll bring that up at the end of the webinar. But this is for those folks who don't have brand registry, they don't have a trademark. Maybe they filed for one 2 months ago, but they're waiting. I mean, I've heard trademarks can take up to 9 months right now to get. The USPTO is pretty bogged down, so that's for those types of sellers. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to purchase the product from the scammer or hijacker, do it with the fastest shipping option. That way you're not waiting, excuse me, you're not waiting forever for it to come. Oftentimes if it's a Chinese counterfeiter, unfortunately it's going to take a while anyways to come. It could take up to 2 weeks. But sometimes it's quick too. I've had the product actually be counterfeited, and the person actually sent it to FBA. They sent it to Amazon, so I was able to get it overnighted to me. It's amazing that it's not just these international scammers that are doing this type of stuff. In my case scenario, it was a competitor doing it, and so I was able to get the product really quick because it came directly from Amazon. So what you're going to do when you get the order in the mail, you're going to photograph it, take 2 or 3 pictures, showing that it's fake, lacking your logo, your branding. Every time I've dealt with this, it's been literally, nearly an identical product of what mine is, except it will have either a different logo or it just won't have a logo at all. That's why it's really, really, really important, and I'm sure Will preaches this, and lots of people do in this industry, to really brand your products. If you're selling products that lack branding, lack logos, you could run into issues down the road when people are jumping on your listings. So really the only true way to prove that someone's counterfeited you or whatever is by having branded products, truly branded. Not just branded listings, but I'm talking, logos on the products. That's super important. So if it is a true counterfeit of your product, meaning they've went to the lengths of actually replicating, duplicating your logo, that's happened one time to me. Like I said, I think I've ran into this twice. One time the product didn't have any logo or branding, so I took photographs of that, but one time it actually did, and it was mine, but it was a much lower quality version of the product. It didn't have the correct packaging, but it did actually have my logo on it. They did a very poor replication of it, but they did it. If you run into a situation where that happens, where your logo's on it, but you can clearly tell it's a knockoff, angle the pictures where your logo doesn't show, and if you need to, Photoshop the image and take the logo out. That's what you have to do in order to get these guys gone. Next, what you're going to do after you get the pictures, call Amazon and report the issue. You're going to be calling as if you're a customer, because remember, you ordered the product as a customer. You need to, what I've noticed with the seller support, or not seller support, with the Amazon.com, buying support people, you really need to tell them exactly what to do. They're not, oftentimes when I call and complain, hey, I ordered this product, I got it in the mail, it's counterfeit, it's knockoff, it doesn't even have the logo, it does not match the listing. A lot of times they'll just refund me, and then, it's done. That's not enough. I mean, you should demand a refund, and you will get a refund. That oftentimes you'll even get a $5 or $10 Amazon gift card. We've had that happen before, but you need to tell them, like, hey, I want to open an investigation, a case against, the particular seller, and then tell them the seller name. Obviously, they're able to see that, and have them open up a case right there. they will literally write up a case that goes over to seller performance, and that's typically pretty effective. So we're going to be hitting them on the buying side on that front, but we're also going to hit them on the selling side too. So from your seller account, what I'll do is I'll email either seller performance or sometimes even Jeff Bezos's office if this has been an issue that's been going on for, let's say, weeks, which I know people deal with. Oftentimes it doesn't go that long, and I wouldn't email Jeff or any other person at Amazon. I'd just stick with seller performance. But what I do is include the pictures and the order number and all of that. And again, you're actually going to do this from the buying account as well. A lot of people don't realize you can actually email seller performance as a buyer. It doesn't have to be linked to your selling account or anything. And of course, you can email or contact seller performance from your selling account too, but that's the best way to do it in this situation, is do it from your buyer account, the same account that you placed the order on, include that order number, the pictures, and then again, you don't write a book, you don't write an essay, brief explanation of what's going on. This is the message that I like to use. I was instructed by Amazon to do a test buy. It was a knockoff replica. It was lacking the brand, it was lacking the logo. It did not match the Amazon detail page. You have to say that. Some of these seller performance guys, it's just a hit or miss, but put in there exactly what the specific rule this person is breaking, which would be, the product doesn't match the Amazon detail page. That's how it's written in the Amazon terms of service. And I say the images are attached as proof. Please take action against the seller for selling inauthentic goods. And again, include the storefront URL, not just the seller name. Most of these times when someone's going these links, they won't change their seller name, but just in case they do, it's always a good idea to include the URL to the seller when you're doing that report. Wait about 48 hours, sometimes less, and they should be gone. I've been really, really lucky, or not lucky, but successful with doing it this way. I've tested and tweaked and tried all sorts of methods to get people off the listings, and that seems really the most effective way. So we've done it, we've reported them, we've emailed them, we've taken the pictures, we've done it as a buyer. If after 2 days that's not enough, then you might want to also try reporting them as a seller, and you can just do that under report a violation and let Amazon know about that too, and actually send pictures and do whatever you need to do. I've never had to get to that step before, but just in case, you might. So those are really the three strategies. My warning to you guys, be on the lookout. These guys, these scammers, these counterfeiters, they're on my listings. I've got, I don't know, across all my Amazon businesses, I maybe have, I don't know, 50 to 75 unique ASINs, and they're on my stuff literally every hour. Not always stealing the buy box, but 24/7. It can definitely become a nightmare if you are not managing them appropriately, or if you don't know that they're actually even on your listing. A lot of you guys are, manually reviewing your listings around the clock. Others might have software to at least check for buy box hijackers. I know there's a couple pieces of software out there that will do that. But the truth is, these scammers and especially competitors are doing way more to hurt your listings than just, jumping on your product and undercutting your price and taking the buy box. These guys are doing a lot. Changing your title, your beautiful, 50 character, 50 word, keyword rich title that you work so hard on that is giving you all sorts of SEO benefit on Amazon. They're changing it to 3 words, or your images. I've had people delete, I always have 7 or 8 images on my listings. I've had them delete all of them except for 1, or worse yet, I've had people change my images to something completely different. For example, if I'm selling fidget spinner, for example. Those are super hot right now. If I'm selling a fidget spinner on Amazon, I might have my brand, my logo on it. We've literally had people go in there. They've somehow changed the images around, and this is a brand registered product, by the way. But they've contacted Amazon, had the images changed to a version of the product that looks identical without the logo on it, and then they've done that first, and then they've gone in and stolen the buy box. At that point, think about it. They're not selling anything counterfeit. They just screwed your listing up. They changed your listing so they wouldn't be breaking the rule, and now they're selling a product under that listing that, in all intents and purposes, it matches the listing. So what rule are they breaking? That's going on more and more and more and more. I'm seeing it all the time on my stuff. I'm seeing it on other people's stuff too. That is something that really has not happened much in the past on Amazon from what I've seen. This is kind of something new where people are going on, screwing up a competitor's listing that's doing better than them, you know, changing the images, hijacking it. It's sad, but I guess the point I'm trying to make is, you know, there's way more you should be on the lookout for than just making sure someone's not on your listing hijacking your buy box. You know, even your product category. A lot of you guys rely on having a bestseller badge in a particular product category. My products, I mean, literally my sales will be cut in half if I lose that bestseller badge, no doubt. So it's super important for me to make sure I'm in those browse node categories so I keep that bestseller badge. It's really easy for a competitor to go in there and change someone's product category to something completely different. You lose that bestseller badge and it could take you half a day, it could take you 24 hours, maybe even more to get that back if you notice it. I mean, how often are you guys looking at your listings? I mean, for me, when I have 75 listings, it's a lot. I used to literally have staff members check every single one every 30 minutes round the clock, but those guys have to, you know, sleep sometimes. And I know I didn't sleep well at night at all, knowing this stuff was going on. And not to mention vote attacks. I mean, I'll tell you a story about that in a minute. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is, you know, wouldn't it be better, or wouldn't you sleep better, I should say, if there was a 100% automated way to keep track of your listings, everything on your listings, not just hijackers, not just leeches. I'm talking, you know, pretty much every aspect of your listings. So let me tell you a quick story about a competitor attack that I dealt with. This happened, I'd say, about a year ago. One of my businesses on Amazon is a supplement business. I'm sure a lot of you guys are in that market too. But this particular product was a testosterone boosting product. You know, there's, I would say, maybe 7 or 8 really top players on Amazon for that particular product niche. Of course, there's, you know, thousands selling something like it, but I'd say there's 7 or 8 guys who are really, really killing it. Me being one of them. We had a new product, you know, by a competitor. They launched the product. They were able to get all sorts of fake reviews and things and a lot of traction relatively quickly. But they actually went through to my product and the other 7, you know, competitors, which are actually friendly competitors for me. I have decent relationships with them, and they're pretty big companies. But they went through and they took all of our 1-star reviews and they had some sort of bots do upvotes on those. And literally, if you went to our listing, you know, they got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of votes on our 1-stars. So our listings looked terrible. I mean, you'd go there and all you would see is the most helpful reviews are 1-star reviews, and super, super bad. They'd even go in and do votes on your 5-star reviews too, but they would do no votes. And so that way it's all the more harder for you to recover from the attack. They did this on my listing for the product. They also did it on, like I said, the 7 or 8 other competitors. And all the while, you know, this was their competitive edge to kind of build their product up, because they knew it would be kind of a rebuilding effort for everyone who was hit by this attack. In addition to the votes, they also messed around with our images. They messed around with our categories. We lost our bestseller badges, and of course the title. which the title can oftentimes be tricky to get it changed back to what you originally had, because seller support is kind of strict on what you can have in your title. Getting those keyword-rich titles back after they've been changed is not the easiest thing. So that actually happened. This attack, this is one of many attacks. This would be the most severe one I've ever probably encountered ever on Amazon. But that happened, and I didn't even notice it. I mean, it was probably, I'd say, I don't know, 20 hours, 24 hours, not quite a day, but maybe a day after it happened, that I was able to discover. And it was because I'm focused on, excuse me, looking at my sales numbers a couple times throughout the day, and then of course at the end of the day, and the next time, the next day in the morning. I was so focused on looking at my sales numbers that I wasn't, looking at my listings nearly enough. And by the time I discovered it, man, I threw away, I literally lost tens of thousands of dollars, tens of thousands. Had I, discovered this sooner, I would have saved a lot of money, a ton of money, just by, knowing, just by being alerted by that. And this type of stuff happens all the time, people getting their listings messed up, getting these hijackers, these leeches. There's a new scam going around that I wanted to tell you guys about because it's pretty darn new too, but it's happened to me. Maybe it's happened to you. I've searched the seller forums. I've been on some of these Facebook groups. I can't find anybody else who's actually reported that they've dealt with this yet, but I'm telling you right now, prepare for it because it's going to happen. It's been happening to me, and it's scary actually. But anyways, basically what people are doing is they're opening up a Vendor Express account on Amazon, which is you might already know they have Seller Central, Vendor Central, then they have Vendor Express, and that's just a platform where you're just sending your product, or I'm sorry, you're just selling your product direct to Amazon. So Amazon's buying it at a discount, and then they're just going ahead and reselling the product on your listing. So Amazon.com becomes the seller of your product. At that point, you are literally I guess a middleman. You're just wholesaling the product to them. And a lot of people run their business on that, Vendor Express. What people are doing though, and it's happened to me on 2 products now, is they're signing up for not Vendor Central, but Vendor Express, because it's way easier to get approved for a Vendor Express account. They're signing up, they're going on and saying, hey Amazon, I've got 1,000 units or 10,000 units, whatever, of this product. I'll sell it to you for, maybe it's a $10 product that Amazon can sell for, and the person is saying, I'll sell it to you for $3. Amazon says, yes, I'll buy that for $3, because they know, Amazon knows based on the sales rank and the success of the product, they know they can sell it for $10 and sell those 1,000 units fast and make money. So they order it. They order it from you, or from the scammer, and they actually bring it into their warehouses. It gets commingled with the fulfillment by Amazon stuff, and all of a sudden you're looking at your listing and you've been hijacked, and you're looking at it again and you've been hijacked. You've lost your buy box to Amazon.com. Amazon.com is the seller. It's happened to me. It was super scary. It was a huge mess to get it fixed, but that is happening all the time. All it takes is somebody going on Vendor Express and offering to sell a product to Amazon. Amazon's not doing their due diligence there, guys. Their buyers are not, inspecting the integrity of the company. They're taking all of this as it's fact, not a grain of salt. They're not researching the product. Thankfully, you can get Amazon.com, as a seller shut down using the same strategies that I went over on this video. They actually work for that too, with the test buy and all of that. Obviously, a cease and desist letter is not going to work. I would highly advise you don't cease and desist Amazon.com if you would like to continue selling on Amazon.com. But I figured I'd let you know about that because it's something that's becoming way more mainstream and kind of scary. But you know, again, just keep a closer eye on your listings. That's kind of like the main point, I think, of this webinar. You're leaving money on the table if you're not, and if you're only tracking, you know, when you lose the buy box, I promise you, you know, it's just a matter of time where something's going to happen. You're going to change categories, or your images are going to change, or your title, or whatever. You're going to have a vote attack. You know, anything could happen, and you're not going to know about it, or you'll discover it, you know, after the fact. So with that said, my secret tool, I know Will, you know, kind of talked a little bit about it as he gave me an intro into the webinar, but this is a tool that I've been using personally for my own Amazon business for the past couple of years. I revamped it earlier this year and changed it, made it way better, but it's been something very proprietary that I've used just for my own Amazon products, and it's been really, really, really helpful. I've been able to get sleep at night, which is kind of hard to do when you run an online business sometimes, when you deal with, you know, competitor attacks and hijackers and all of that. It's way different than just selling on a website. You know, you guys know, selling on Amazon, I mean, it's extremely lucrative, but with that big paycheck and opportunity that you have, you know, we deal with a lot of stuff that, you know, is not good. And so yeah, so for that said, with that said, I should say, you know, I'm opening up the software to a small amount of Amazon sellers, just a few hundred for the time being, and I guess introducing AMZ Alert, as Will had said. AMZ Alert, what is it? So AMZ Alert is a tool that's going to check all of your Amazon listings every 15 minutes. It's going to give you a text or an email or both the second that literally any of these things will happen on your Amazon listing. So listings and buy box hijackers, obviously there's other tools out there that does that, but it's still important. It's still nice to have it, you know, in our tool. Whenever a listing is suppressed or taken down, maybe by a complaint or whatever, you'll get a text on that. Negative reviews. Not only when you get a negative review, you can turn that on or off, but also when you have a negative review show up as most helpful. That's really, really nice. Like I said, I had an attack happen to me, which was a vote attack, where they upvoted all of my 1-star reviews. If I had been, you know, using this at that time, that would have, you know, it would have caught it right away. Any drastic changes in your bestsellers rank, that's super nice to know. When you're first launching a product, you can kind of see how your BSR is moving around. Maybe you set up a coupon code wrong and you accidentally just gave away 5,000 units of a product because you did it wrong. I did that myself 4 years ago. Accidentally gave away thousands of units because a code, I forgot to hit the one redemption per customer, and it was a mess. But anyways, had I had AMZ Alert set up there, I would have definitely seen a huge spike or BSR lowering too much in that situation, and would have been able to cancel the promotion, but of course I didn't. But anyways, changes in product category and browse node, again, super important because that bestseller badge is fully dependent on that browse node or category that you're in. Changes in product images, whether you have images that are swapped out, deleted, or added, it finds it. Your product title, if that changes, it can detect that. Reviews being deleted. I added this feature just a couple of months ago. As you guys know, Amazon's latest terms of service update last summer, where they banned, you know, incentivized reviews and giving away free products for reviews. They rolled that out. What Amazon, you know, didn't mention was that they're going to go through and delete a lot of those reviews. I would say, you know, out of all of my products, maybe only 15% of them were affected by that, but about 15% of them saw reviews getting deleted. Some of them went from, you know, having a lot of reviews, thousands of reviews, down to, you know, hundreds. I mean, some of them got hit hard. Other ones, you know, had like 20 reviews deleted. There was no rhyme or reason or consistency for why that was happening, but this will detect any change in reviews that is going, backwards. Obviously, you want your reviews to increase, not decrease. If they decrease by more than 2 reviews, this is going to let you know, so you can ramp up your marketing or advertising or whatever to try to get some of those back. Changes in keyword rankings, this will also check that too, which is really nice, and several other things as well. But that's kind of just the I guess the 1,000-foot overview of what it does and what it is. But I encourage you to check it out. We're doing a pretty nice discount for StartupBros members only. This is not something we're offering to anybody else, and like I had said, we're only looking to get a few hundred people on board, so this won't be something that lasts forever. But we do have a coupon code, AMZBro25, that'll get you 25% off for life. This is a monthly subscription, or if you just want to check it out for a month and see how it's going to benefit your business, you can also do a 50% off for 1 month. With AMZBro 50, but I encourage you to check it out. I think it could be really, really helpful. At the very least, if you don't use AMZ Alert, I really, really encourage you to monitor your listings and try out some of these strategies. I would imagine some of you guys have done things similar to this with some of these email strategies and reporting strategies. But maybe not have just done it, identical to how I presented it. And I promise you that even the slightest difference on how something is worded, or what department you email or report to, can really make a big difference. So I hope this content was good. I hope it wasn't just, oh, Steve, why are you telling me this? This is common sense. Because I really didn't want it to be that way. So I hope it was helpful there, and it wasn't, just obvious stuff. But I promise you, there is a lot of nuances with this stuff, and I've been doing it a long time to kind of crack the code on those. So, but yeah, I encourage you to check out AMZ Alert. We've got a fun video right on the website that I encourage you to check out. One thing too, I wanted to tell you about, kind of just made the decision on this today. I haven't even talked to Will or Steven about this, but we are actually adding a feature to AMZ Alert, and I mean, there's a lot of features we have that no other software has anyways, but we're actually going to be adding a feature that will automatically cease and desist a leech or a hijacker when they're on your listing. 100% automatic. You can basically go in and put a template in for what you want the cease and desist to look like, and the software is going to do it all by itself. Could be 2 a.m. It's going to detect a leech every 15 minutes, and you will have cease and desist going out on your behalf without you having to do anything. So we're trying to do things like that, and additional things will come too, because it's one thing to let you know when something's broken, but what's more important is let's fix it. And if we can automate as much as possible to get those things fixed, I mean, the value in that is huge. So we're doing things like that, automatic cease and desist. That's going to be coming soon. Several other things too down the road will be coming that will be autonomous and will be a huge time saver, I think. So encourage you to check that out. Will, I think I'm wrapped up. I would love to jump into a Q&A now if that sounds good with you.
Yep, absolutely. And this was a great session. Yeah, definitely a valuable session. Not only talking about a few different ways to get hijacked that I didn't even know about, but also how to monitor and fight back against those hijackers. So yeah, this was great to see. Guys, great deal on AMZ Alert right here. We've been trying AMZ Alert for quite a few months now with Dr. Ben kind of being our test subject for this. And it is just a great tool. We've even had, I know Ben was messaging with your team, Steve, and even got some new features put in there on request. So that's obviously not going to happen to everyone, but it does show just how quickly this tool is being developed and improved. So to have an offer like this, 50% off for 1 month or 25% off for life, I mean, a cease and desist alone costs a few $100 to actually have a lawyer send that out. So that right there kind of pays for the cost of the membership. So great tool, and I would certainly suggest, guys, if this is a tool that you're going to use, get in soon, because the price of this is probably going to go up. As you saw, Steve is constantly improving this tool and adding new features. So yeah, great stuff, Steve. And we do have a ton of questions for you.
Okay.
So we got those lined up and ready to go. I'll let Steve in from the StartupBros team ask most of the questions. I'll be in the question box, and of course, if I feel like I can add value anywhere, I'll jump in and rudely interrupt as well.
Sounds good.
Yeah, feel free, buddy. I'll start from the top, though, guys. It looks like we have like maybe 5 or 6 questions here. Nothing too crazy today. Dennis wanted to start out by asking if I'm selling a product that is already in Amazon, does that mean that I'm a hijacker for using someone else's listing?
Well, I mean, sometimes being a hijacker, I guess, is not a matter of a legal thing. It could be an ethical type thing. I mean, if you're on someone else's listing and you're selling a product that's authentic, that's more of an ethical dilemma. You're not breaking, rules at that point, as long as it's authentic, it matches the Amazon listing. I mean, that's why they have software out there that are repricing software, because sometimes you'll have 50 sellers on one listing, and everyone's kind of competing over that buy box. So no, I wouldn't really consider that, being a hijacker, unless your intentions behind it are negative, or you're really genuinely breaking, a rule. If it's a genuine product, that's a pretty common thing for an Amazon product to have tons of sellers on it. Not so much in the private label space, but in other product categories for sure.
Great, thanks for that.
Sure.
Up next, I have Rena. Rena wanted to know if we're using the pictures from another seller, is that okay, even if there are other pictures or other listings with those same pictures?
I would highly advise you never use pictures, from another listing from another seller, especially if it's a private label product or something like that. At that point, that seller, if they wanted to, could go after you for a copyright infringement on the rights for the use of the pictures. So not to say that you will get in hot water, but I mean, it's technically an intellectual property concern if you're, taking those pictures and, using it for your own benefit. Or, I've seen people take the pictures and Photoshop them a bit and put their own spin on it. Even that, it's just not worth it. I would highly advise, just getting your own pictures, doing your own photo shoots, and you can save some headaches down the road.
Oh, and I see Rena wanted to clarify they were pictures from the overseas supplier.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, if those are pictures that a supplier provides you, then, I would think that those would be okay. As long as you have the rights to use the picture, if it's manufacturer supplied images, sure, you can use those. I still probably wouldn't advise you use them though, because at least in my experience, most of those pictures that I've gotten from the suppliers, especially the overseas ones, they just haven't really been that good quality-wise and things like that. So I still think it makes sense to get those, professionally shot, or maybe a little bit different spin on them, so they're unique is not a bad thing.
Yeah, completely agree with that. And you guys have tons of resources within the members area. 6 or 7 different great resources to get product photos shot and made for you. Pretty cheap to do so as well. So like Steve said, when you're first starting out, maybe you have to use those supplier pictures for a few things. But once you know you got a product that's going to sell, product photos is one of the first things you want to improve and differentiate on. So certainly you're going to be doing your own product photos pretty quickly with every product. But yeah, just wanted to add that in there.
Great.
Yeah, you definitely can bootstrap, but want to move towards differentiation as soon as possible. Now, let's see who we have next. I have Andy asking, Wouldn't the best strategy be to do, wouldn't the best thing to do would be to do strategy number 3 first, as this seems the surest and most effective and cheapest?
No, that's a great question. I mean, strategy number 3 was the test buy strategy. The only reason I advise not doing that one first is because oftentimes you don't have to go through the lengths to do that. Oftentimes a cease and desist or doing the threatening letter or reporting them without doing a test buy, that honestly is very effective. It works a lot. If you're just holding off for strategy 3, you could be waiting a week for the product to come in the mail, and that's, you know, time lost. You might as well try the other things first. Or I mean, perhaps the question you're asking is, you know, shouldn't I do strategy number 3 first in that situation, and then while I'm waiting for the product, do, you know, the cease and desist, and then strategy number 1 and 2? That's a great idea. And that's typically what I will do too. I'll send a cease and desist at the same time. You know, if the product's cheap, I'll order it. If it's something super expensive, I'll have to wait maybe a little bit because I don't want to jump in there too quick. But it's not a bad idea, you know, if your product's cheap enough, send a cease and desist, do some of the other strategies, and while you're waiting to hear back on that stuff, it's not a bad idea to order the product, so you're not wasting time there. I agree with that. And good thing is too, even if the product is expensive, you can definitely get your refund back on that as long as you talk to the right people at Amazon and really you know, make a point that you want your money back. They'll listen. They'll make it right, and you'll probably get a gift card, which is cool. So
Good to hear. I have Anna up next wondering, she says, when I'm looking at Seller Central reports, I occasionally see that I have the buy box 94% of my listing, or 94% on my listing. Does that mean someone else is on it, that other 6%? Because when I look at my reg software, it claims the listing only has 1 seller. So I'm not currently brand registered, so I've done nothing at this point and haven't been able to get an answer via social media. So I'd love to know what an expert like you says.
yeah, that could be one of 2 things. It could for sure be somebody that's taking the buy box from you, maybe when you're sleeping. That is a common scam, by the way, where people will only jump on your listing from 2 a.m. until 5 a.m. and they're on it for a few hours, and then they're off by the time you wake up and you check your listing. Everything's hunky-dory, your sales are okay, and you're the only seller on it. Well, people are doing that, where they're only jumping on for a few hours, and then they're doing that 2 days a week, every day, whatever. So that could be what's going on. I can't say for sure without, you know, having a tool like AMZ Alert running and checking it. Another thing that could be going on is just could be a matter of your metrics. I doubt that's the case. I mean, if you have the buy box most of the time, but occasionally you can lose the buy box on your own listing, even if you're the only seller on the listing. That can be if your price, like if you adjust your price, if you adjust it too high, you can actually lose the buy box. So you're still on the listing, and you could be the only seller, but the buy box is gone. People actually have to hit, you know, available from 1 seller, and then hit that and kind of go in the back door to place an order. I've seen that before with price increases, or if you have metrics that are not the greatest with customer feedback and things on a product, that can actually affect your buy box too. But as long as you're not adjusting your price, and if your customer service and your metrics and everything have been consistent, then I would think that you could be getting, you know, hijacked during that time. It's definitely a possibility, but you know, I would definitely open that question up to Will and Stephen too, if they have other thoughts on, you know, what it could be.
I agree. I think great level of depth there. So yeah, Anna, I'll take a look at your question as well and try to leave you a text response.
I think you pretty much nailed it there, Steve. That was good. I have something that it's not really a question here, it's more of a comment. Jerry said, being that I'm in Grand Rapids, will I have the opportunity to ever meet Steve in his office or maybe at a seminar? I'd love to take the opportunity to meet him and learn some much more if there ever is such an opportunity. So
Yeah,
Putting that out there.
absolutely. Yeah, I've got my office, Jerry, is just right in downtown, well, kind of on the outskirts of downtown Ada, which is a burb of Grand Rapids, as you know. So I'm Amway headquarters. I'm just a couple blocks from there. So yeah, I'd love to meet you. We meet with people all the time, and outside of AMZ Alert, I do consulting and things like that too for Amazon sellers. So it's pretty common that I get together with people. I love meeting fellow entrepreneurs. So I would not be opposed to that.
Awesome. There you go, Jerry. There's definitely hope, my man. And hey, I had a little follow-up from the last one from Anna. She says, great, I got it, but if I run, say, Jungle Scout, will a hijacker show up? Rather use Tracker, but curious what some signs are.
Yeah, that's something. I mean, Jungle Scout, that wouldn't be something you'd be able to use to see any activity like this. I mean, really, the only way to detect something like this is to use AMZ Alert or just check your listing, around the clock. That's kind of my only advice on that one. You could. I don't even think you could tell based on looking at any other reports. I mean, that the buy box percentage report's a pretty good indication. So, yeah, I'm not familiar. I mean, there's obviously other tools for detecting hijackers and things, but
Oh,
yeah.
she says a hijacker shows as a seller, I mean, to clarify.
Oh, yes. Yeah, correct. So, is it possible to get the question again then? I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought here.
No, that's okay. That's totally okay. It's well, asking in follow-up, if I run Jungle Scout, will the hijacker show up as another seller? I'd rather use Tracker, but curious about the signs. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, it wouldn't on Jungle Scout. I don't believe they are that data. If the person's only on your listing temporarily, it probably would not. Jungle Scout, I know it does, show, daily sales, units sold, number of sellers on a listing. I know it does say that, but I don't think it would actually pop in there unless that seller is on there long term. A lot of the ways Jungle Scout and other tools are backing into those sales numbers are just based on historical data and things like that. So if someone's not on there all the time, I can't say for sure, but I would doubt it probably wouldn't show up there, especially if they're only on there for a few hours a day, which is a very common scam. So.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, Anna says I'm all for Tracker. Not there yet, but okay. This next one I have too is from John. John wanted to know, when I'm sending a cease and desist, would you report it to Amazon at the same time?
I wouldn't. Typically the cease and desist, I mean, you definitely can, but typically the cease and desist, like I said, I mean, I'm a huge supporter of the cease and desist letter. You definitely could, but I like to report them, if the cease and desist doesn't work and I send them, kind of a nasty gram. At that point, I like to do the reporting. Sometimes, a lot of times someone's intent on these scams, it's pretty bad. Oftentimes it's, an elite dealer that has gotten, 3 units of your stuff. They put it on your listing. Next thing you know, they're getting hit with cease and desist messages. And then next thing you know, they're getting reported. Well, technically, they're not doing anything wrong. So, I mean, that's a rare case, okay? But still, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. Let them respond to the cease and desist or whatever before you go on a reporting campaign. I would, because you could be wasting your time and possibly, getting someone removed that might not have to be removed. But I mean, I think it could just be different for everybody. That's just because the way I do it, doesn't mean it's the way that everyone has to do it. I mean, depending on your product and things like that, you can always tweak it. But I think there's pros and cons to every way you do it. So.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense to settle it between each other before appealing to the Amazon police, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think I have two other questions lined up. I have one from Dennis and then one more from Anna. So I guess we'll be wrapping this up soon. I know you only have about another 15 minutes before you have to run. So I guess we'll get right to it. Dennis wanted to know, why is it that other sellers can piggyback on existing listing? Why would Amazon just not allow it?
That's the question that I've been wondering for so long. It's annoying. They should, there's a concept called brand gating that Amazon does do for some products, oftentimes big brands, but oftentimes even small private label brands like some of my products are brand gated. And basically what that means is in order to sell that product, you have to prove that, the inventory that you have is authentic. You have to provide typically invoices showing that you've ordered it and it's legitimate, oftentimes a letter from the manufacturer. You basically have to go through an approval process to be able to sell on those brand gated products. So there is, a lot of people are gated already. There's not really anything you can do to become gated. It's at least from my understanding, I've tried it myself on my own products and have never had success. I did a couple of years ago. I did, but now I feel like the rules things have really changed. With this new brand registry rollout, I feel like things are going to continue to change. And I think it right now, I don't really know of a way to become brand gated. However, with the brand registry changes, to be brand registered brand now on Amazon, you have to have a registered trademark. It's got to be an issued trademark. I think with that, happening, I think Amazon did that because I think brand gating is coming soon. I've heard through the grapevine that they're working on it and it's going to be here soon. Who's to say, if that's speculation or fact, I don't know, but it makes a lot of sense that it would be coming soon for everybody, where, you can either approve who is on your listing or Amazon approves who goes on a listing. It makes a lot of sense. And unfortunately, it's not open to the masses right now, but it's kind of common sense in my opinion. You would think Amazon would do that. That would stop, oh my gosh, like 99% of these scams that are happening right now. But there is, I should say one thing though, there is, I guess only maybe one good thing that could come from products not being brand gated, and that's if you, in the event that you ever lose your Amazon selling account or something like that, and you want to have someone else list your product for you, or maybe you sell your business, or you do what you're not supposed to do and open a new account or whatever, that would be really, really hard to do if that product was brand gated. So if you lose your account, it's like, the product, you lose it too, which that's not really the case right now. So yeah, but I think it's coming down the line. I don't know, Will or Steven, if you guys have heard anything on the brand gating stuff, but I hope it does come, eventually. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. No, it's just such a massive issue for Amazon to deal with. I think that, like you said, they have just so many sellers and so many buyers now. They have to kind of tiptoe into it. But like you said, I think we can see the direction they're taking it in, and at least we know that they've recognized the problem. So hopefully they'll get it fixed soon.
Yeah.
That's right. A big ship takes a long time to turn around, so to speak.
Yeah, and to Amazon's credit, they've done that very well up until now. But so whatever comes out, I'm sure it'll be. At the end of the day, I think Amazon is trying to help brand owners, people that own brands that have their own customer base and their own fan base. So I think all the changes will help us, brand owners and things like that. And changes are going to continue to hurt hijackers, and as with all these changes, same with a Google slap or something, right? Google algorithm changes, good content creators always win, and the people that are trying to scam Google's algorithm end up falling away. I think that's what we're seeing in Amazon as well as they grow, and there is going to be some things to deal with, but the silver lining is that all these changes are at the end of the day, I think, trying to help brand owners. So
definitely, I would agree with that too. I think the intentions that that Amazon's doing is all good. I think it's a long it's a long process. It's a
Yeah, it
long
is.
rollout. But I wouldn't be surprised with how things are going. With a lot of these scams and things, it wouldn't shock me that if someday, not anytime soon, but I guess it wouldn't shock me if 5 years from now, the only people that can sell on Amazon are those brand registered people. It
Yeah.
wouldn't shock me if they turned off, the registration process or whatever. We've seen them do that around the holidays for FBA sellers. If it
Yep.
gets to a point where they don't need it, it wouldn't shock me. So
Yeah. Yeah. Completely agree. So we'll
Great.
keep an eye out and obviously keep you guys updated. But that like Steve said, that's going to be something that continues to change for years and years, I think.
mhm.
Great. Great. Yeah, Dennis says this is also new to me, so thank you for going into detail. That was great.
Yeah, not a problem.
And it looks like I have two left here. I have Anna and Demetrius has a question. So I am going to ask those two, and I guess we'll cut it off because, well, if you know our guys, we'll stay here for 3 or 4 hours and keep chit-chatting. So we don't want to keep you forever. This one Anna had, she said she had used a listing in the past for sample. She sold that did okay. But once it sold out, she just left it and didn't end up ordering extra products. So she saw the other day that someone else had listed a product on it.
Mhm.
She says, I'm not brand registered yet, but it does have my company name on it. Is there any way to delete my listings? I don't want the listing, but I don't want my name on it with other people's products. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's I've actually experienced that exact same thing. Unfortunately, there's not a way to delete a listing. I wish there was, especially if you were brand registered, but unfortunately an Amazon detail page, once it's out there, unless Amazon takes it down, it's permanent. But what you can do, I had luck dealing with that same issue before. I had contacted, it's called the captive team at Amazon Seller Support. It's a special team that deals with, I guess, they're just a higher tier level than their normal support. But I would contact them and just let them know what's going on. Let them know, like, hey, you created the listing and other people are selling it, and your logo is still associated with it. At the very least, you could, even without contacting the captive team, you could open up a support case with Amazon and get any association, like any of your product name or images. You could definitely get those removed. Unfortunately, that's kind of one of the downfalls with Amazon, and that's why having an alerting system is so important, because you can go on and make changes to other people's listings. A lot of people don't know this, but it's the truth. You can go on and get an image removed or get whatever removed, whether it's your listing or not. It happens. So you should be able to do that. Like, for example, if your logo is in an image or something and you don't want that associated with it, you could for sure get that picture removed without a problem, just by contacting seller support oftentimes. So I would go that route, and then maybe even contact the captive team. You might be able to get your brand like removed from like the brand spot on there too, and any other details. That way you're not associated with it anymore, for sure. So
Okay, and a little piece of follow-up here from Anna saying, so if I delete a listing from Seller Central, it just takes it off my account page, not my catalog, right? And if I delete a listing on my account, does the accounting info stay in my history?
yeah, the accounting info will always stay in your history. That's always for products that you've sold for past sales. So that there's no way to ever delete that, which is good. But yeah, when you delete a listing from Seller Central, either under catalog or manage inventory, unfortunately that's deleting your offer for the listing. It's not actually deleting the Amazon detail page, just your offer of the listing. So as of right now, there's not a way that I know of to actually delete an actual Amazon product without jumping through some hoops, contacting the captive team, and even then getting it deleted. I haven't heard of anyone doing that. I mean, oftentimes you can just change it, or the only people who are getting it, stuff deleted is if, they're violating trademarks or infringing on stuff. I mean, if you go the trademark infringement route, you might be able to get it taken down. And there's I can provide that link to Will and Steven. There's a trademark infringement form that you can fill out and provide, and you might have some luck that way if you want to get them off.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to make a note. Trademark infringement form. Boom. I will get that from you afterwards. Make sure I include that link in the replay for all you guys. Anna's very excited. She says, "You rock, answered everything. Yay, and thank you."
Yeah, my pleasure.
We got this Anna seal of approval. Cool.
All right. Well, I believe that was our last question. Steve, let me know if I am mistaken.
Just a little bit. I had this one last one from Demetrius, which I think is a really good question to end this off because it's a clarifying question. He said, "There's a little confusion to me as to what is the difference between hijacking and piggybacking. Could you explain?"
Yeah, definitely. Hijacking is, my definition, and a lot of people have the same definition, is simply taking the buy box away from you. Piggybacking, in my definition, is the same as a leech. It's someone who is selling on your listing, but they have not stolen the buy box. These are, the way I understand these terms, or at least the way that I use the terms, they make the most sense to me. But so not all piggybackers are hijackers, but all hijackers are piggybackers, if that makes sense. Yeah. That's how.
Yeah. Yeah, Demetrius says, okay, that clears it a bit. Yeah, I guess, Demetrius, if there's anything else that you want clarified in that, feel free to drop it in. But other than that, this has been a great session. Steve, this is just great. I don't have anything else to say. It was very information-packed. That's why we like having guys like you on who, although there is a tool that you use, the value you provided was just immense. So that's why, we're pretty protective of our community. We don't like guys who come in and just try to make it a pitch fest. So you did a great job, provided a ton of value here. I mean, the question box, yeah, everyone is, they're enjoying it. Demetrius says, no, that's it for now. Thanks for answering. He appreciates it.
Yeah, certainly a great session, Steve, and we'll have to make this almost required viewing within our training program. So yeah, this was great, and thanks again for being a part of it, Steve, and perfect timing as well. We got just a few minutes until Steve Eilers' cutoff time here. So thanks again, Steve, for being here, and thanks for the great offer too, the great deal on AMZ Alert, which again is something I have a suspicion that the price on this is going to go up as Steve adds more features to this. So really appreciate that deal and showing us kind of the foundation for what AMZ Alert's all about. Some of the best pieces of software and the best tools out there, guys, are built out of necessity. And you just saw how Steve had every single problem in the book and said, man, I can't sit here all day and just monitor my listings all day. And just is continuing to build out a piece of software to automate that piece of his business for him. So great piece of software, and we're excited to show this off a little bit along with this incredibly valuable bonus session. Thanks again, Steve. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks, Will. Thanks, Steven. And thanks, everyone, for joining. I really appreciate it, and hopefully I'll talk to you guys again soon.
All right, great. Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to do some more things together. And guys, great session. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks for being here. And this is going to be up in the members area in just a few hours, along with the discounts and the links that Steve has recommended for us. And this is something you guys are probably going to want to come back to in the future. If you ever have an issue with hijackers, I think we can call this the masterclass on how to solve that problem. Obviously, AMZ Alert is a great way to automate that, as you guys know. And I think you've heard it all, guys. So we'll call this a wrap for today. Thanks again to all Steves involved, and thanks again to you guys for being here. Hopefully you found it incredibly valuable, and I will see most of you guys on next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern for our next weekly training session, the GSD Power Hour. So I will see you guys then, and a few of you guys I will see on Thursday as well. But most of you I'll see on Tuesday. And once again, thanks again to Steve for being here and AMZ Alert for making it happen. So once again, guys, thanks for being here, and we'll have this all in the members area within a few hours. Have a great night, everyone, and a great weekend for those of you I won't see until next week. And we hope to see you guys again on Tuesday for that next GSD Power Hour. Thanks again, guys, and have a great weekend.